So I was going through my cupboards and doing my inventory, and I decided to pull out all the jars of things that were either things that I didn't really know how to use, or we weren't crazy about them, so I needed to get creative in using them. Also things that were from 22 or the beginning of 23, so a year or so old. I want to get those out, used up. The goal is to not waste anything. So let's go over what I have in the jars. So I have some chicken soup starters. Some of these I made in the beginning of 23 or the end of 22, and I put them in broth. Those ones we really liked. Unfortunately, the ones that I made, these are chicken pot pie, I think. Yes. And there's chicken soup, and there was some ones with potatoes in them. I'm not seeing any of those, so I might have used those all up. But we're not really crazy about those ones, and I canned those in water. So if I was to do this again, I would can them in broth. However, we really enjoy the soup veggies right out of the freezer. So I'm kind of on the fence how I want to do it for next year, but I want to note that the chicken pot pie, the chicken soup starter, and the veggie soup starter made in the water is not our favorite. Then we have all of these jars of canned chicken. We love canned chicken. However, last year I did, or in 22, the end of 22 and the beginning of 23, I did a bunch of, like from our turkey for Thanksgiving that year, and a bunch of chicken that I roasted, and then I canned the chicken. We do not much care for the chicken canned after it was already cooked. It just doesn't have the level of flavor that it does when you can it from raw. So we love the raw, but we're not crazy about the chicken canned in or canned after it was already cooked. These four, I think there's 6 total. I just didn't bring the other 2. 6 jars of chili. So this wasn't like a chili that I made and then canned. I thought the beans would get mushy. So instead of doing it that way, I put the beans and everything in the jar raw and then canned it in tomato juice. I don't really care for it. So I'm going to have to just get creative, pour it in the thing and season it up and get them gone. Those were from the fall of 22. And then canned pumpkin. A lot of canned pumpkin. So I did the pumpkin 2 ways. I did it, and some of these are not actual pumpkins. They were like butternut squash or different kinds of squashes that look just like pumpkin and taste just like pumpkin. So I did plain pumpkin, and then I did what I called pumpkin pie filling. It's like a pumpkin butter, and it's really, really good. But one thing I did realize is I don't want to do so many flavored pumpkins next time. I would do them, I think I'd probably do them all plain, and then I can spice them as I use them. So there's a lot of those. I'm not really sure. I just want to get them used up. So that way next year we have space. And some of these were done in 22 and some were done in 23. I think most of them were done in 23. So love them, want to use them, so that way we can have room for more. And I'm going to have to get creative because, I mean, I've never really cooked a lot with savory pumpkin. So if you have good recipes that you absolutely love for savory pumpkin, or even sweet pumpkin, because I got to use those up too. And something I did for the very first time ever was peaches. We love them. I just realized that we don't really eat canned peaches. So I need things to put them in. I have a couple ideas, but we're going to use those up. And then This apple pie filling was one of my most favorite things that I canned this last season. It is delicious, but we don't really make a lot of apple pies, so I'll have to maybe make some baked oatmeals or some muffins or something with those. And then I made marmalade for the first time and canned it. I've never made marmalade before. It's really good. I love it, but it's very strong flavored. So it's not like something I just want to throw on my bread. So we're going to have to find recipes for that as well. So these are the things that I'm going to be really focusing on during the pantry challenge. And I'm going to continue on my inventory, and then we'll go over the rest of the inventory after lunch. So next I went into my freezers and my pantry and pulled out the things that have been in there the longest that need to go ahead and get used up. This is one of the largest Aldi grocery shopping bags, and it's packed full of vegetables from the garden from last year. This is definitely a very big priority. I don't want these things to be wrecked. Some of the things like the corn and stuff, I'm a little concerned about already. So we're going to be digging into those like every day. We're going to be pulling something out. And I looked down in there and there is like a ton of shredded zucchini. I'm going to have to start cooking on that like daily, like adding it to things, just throwing it into stuff because it's going to start going bad on me. What else? Well, there's a lot of fruit and pumpkin that I had frozen, and I'm not sure how it didn't wind up in jars, but that's okay. We'll get this used up first. I wanted to dive into the jars that you seen yesterday, but definitely the frozen stuff is a very top priority. And then we have some like open odds and ends that have been in there for a while, so we'll go ahead and use those things up. Some baked potatoes that I've never frozen baked potatoes before, so, and I'm not sure why I did it this time, but we got to use that up. The carcass from Christmas turkey, we need to make that into a soup or broth or something. And then the pantry, sorry if I'm going really fast, I'm trying to get this done and get that stuff back in the freezer. So I bought a bunch of bags of noodles. I want to say like the middle of last year, like July-ish. And the shells we found fall apart. And so I just kind of shoved them to the back and we haven't really touched them. But we need to eat those up and just find a way to use them in a soup or something. I don't know. Just get them done. And then we never really use elbow macaroni, but when we bought our pasta at Sam's Club, it had elbows in there. So I need to use those up. And then I have a whole bunch of beans that I want to can. Get those off the shelf. And then this is brown rice that I bought, I want to say like March of last year, which of course it's still fine. But I want to use that up, get that processed out, and then get into the next two bags. And then the white rice, just have like one meal's worth. We need to eat that up. So this is the inventory so far. I'm going to put all this stuff back, and then I'm going to go through the fridge and the other freezer, and then I will show you what I found, and then I'm going to wrap up the inventory, and over the next few days you will see what I'm going to start to do with these things to keep them from going bad and how we're going to eat them up. Yeah, as you can see, our small freezer is quite the mess, so it's time to go ahead and dig in there and find out what's in the back. It doesn't seem like that long ago that I organized it, but I know there's going to be quite a few odds and ends in there that I can use up. As I'm going through my inventory, I am starting to realize that I really need to work on going through my my freezer stuff on a more regular basis before I'm buying new things, and that's what this pantry challenge is for after all. So I've just went through the fridge. There's not a ton in there that It has to be used up ASAP because we just went through over the holidays and cleaned everything out, so we had room for leftovers. So now I'm going to work on looking over this video, seeing the things that I want to use up first, and making up a menu. I made a menu for breakfast and for lunch, but I think I might, after seeing what was in the freezers and the pantry and in the jars, I might rehaul that list. So thank you so much for joining me today and every day that you do. Have a wonderful day.